You're a perfectly sane woman walking the halls with the criminally insane. The problem is that they don't believe you. They think you belong there, and now you have to figure out a way out. Heyo, and welcome to another episode of the Darkives, where we tell serious history, not so seriously. I'm Jamie talking to Leo.
And I'm Leo listening to Jamie.
And this week, we're going to be discussing the pretty incredible investigative prowess of Miss Nellie Bly.
So I know a little bit about her, but I don't want to spoil anything, so I'll be quiet for now.
Well, thank you for the no spoilies. You ready to do this?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Elizabeth Jane Cochran was born May 5th, 1864 in Cochran's Mill, Pennsylvania. The town was actually named after her father, who owned a mill and served as an associate justice there. Her father died when she was around 6, and the family was forced to move after that, though. She left school at around 15 years old and moved to Pittsburgh with her mother, where her 2 older brothers lived. While out there, she found work extremely hard. Working as a woman in that time was not easy. She eventually read an article in the Pittsburgh Pen that was criticizing women in the workforce. In response to this, she wrote back a letter under the name Nellie Bly saying women should be in the workforce and it should be easier for them to find jobs.
As a result, she probably got a job.
Yeah, I guess I shouldn't be surprised by this. This is around 1880. Women really weren't seen as useful outside of the house, but it is always crazy to me reading about that. But you are correct. The paper actually decided to hire her, and she was quite popular, but only because she was writing articles addressed to women.
She was the voice of the women in the whatever columns, the household columns or whatever.
Yeah, I kind of imagine it to be like that Ask Susie or whatever the hell, where women would write in and be like, how do I get tomatoes off of my tablecloth?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I imagine she was doing there. She found this unfulfilling, though, and quit soon after. When she was around 22 or 23 years old, she landed another job at Joseph Pulitzer's New York newspaper, The New York World. I'm gonna be honest, I wrote this episode quite a while ago. It's been kind of sitting on the back burner. And Joseph Pulitzer, there's now a Pulitzer's Award.
The Pulitzer Prize.
Prize, yes, thank you. Pretty cool that she was working with him. Her first assignment here was to write an investigative article on Blackwell's Island. Now, Blackwell's Island housed an asylum which had opened around 50 years before Nellie's time there, and it already held quite a reputation. Blackwell's Island, which is now called Roosevelt Island in New York, was called Welfare Island in the early 1900s due to the island being mainly home to prisons, asylums, and almshouses.
Did you say alms?
Yes, like ALMS, house. Almshouse. And they were charity houses, right? Where like mostly disabled or elderly people could go to live.
Okay. So everyone over there is either a criminal in poverty or infirmed.
Infirmed?
And you can't take care of yourself. You're old.
That's not a real word.
It is a real word.
Infirmed?
Firmed.
Infirmed describes somebody who is physically or mentally weak, often due to old age, long-term illness, or disability.
I used that perfectly.
You used that absolutely perfectly. Look at us. Just teaching each other things here. But yeah, you pretty much...
I'm cutting all that shit out.
Okay. Well, yes, you nailed it. That is the state of the island at that time. So, in order to successfully investigate the mental house on this island, she actually feigned insanity, and in late 1887, Nellie Bly, which was a pseudonym, got another pseudonym, and she was admitted under the name Nellie Brown. While in there, Nellie was able to fool everyone from the staff to other reporters who came in while she was there though she says she never changed her personality once she was admitted. Quote, "From the moment I entered the insane ward on the island, I made no attempt to keep up the role of insanity. I talked and acted just as I do in normal life, yet, strange to say, the more sanely I talked and acted, the crazier I was thought to be by all." End quote.
I wonder why that is. The fact that she's acting so normal in a place that's so abnormal.
Yeah, I'm not positive why that happened, but interesting nonetheless that like you act quote unquote normal and they're like, this bitch is crazy.
This woman's talking like a man. She's way too confident. She's gotta be insane.
Hysterical. Nellie's article that she wrote from this was eventually turned into a book called 10 Days in the Madhouse, which is where I read this. So that's where I'm getting all my information from. So we're getting this pretty much straight from her. One of the first stories she tells while she's here is that of a German woman named Mrs. Louise Scons. Now, Miss Louise only spoke German, and the nurse who was in the room with them was also German. Now, this nurse, for whatever reason, refused to help translate for Miss Louise. Just being obstinate for no reason.
So the doctors were like probably talking to her. She's talking back in German. Nurse doesn't translate. Doctors just assume she's babbling incoherently probably and does whatever they need to do.
Spot on, because she was committed for not speaking English and she was unable to leave because nobody could understand her.
What a shit move for that nurse.
Yeah.
You got one of your countrymen also in this, relatively newer land, 1890, so it's been around for about 100 years, a little over 100 years. Mm-hmm. And you're not even going to help someone from the place you're from. Like, everybody goes to America for a new start, right? That's what America was back in the day.
Yeah.
A chance where you can make something of yourself and, build something for yourself where you didn't have opportunity before.
Yeah.
And this lady's just all like, yeah, whatever. She's refusing to speak English so she can stay here.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. There was nothing wrong with her. And it's really sad because Nellie reports hearing her like sobbing and begging as she was being led away from this room. Like, it seems like this woman, literally her only crime was just not being able to
speak English.
Yeah, to plead her case. Okay. Well, outside of the horrible treatment, Nellie also tells of the horrible and borderline inedible food. The food there was so bad that Nellie didn't eat for a little bit there because it was so just inedible. They were not caring for these people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're just feeding these people the slop.
Exactly.
Junk. But that's the thing, is we've talked about asylums before. Mm-hmm. And how it just ends up being, especially early asylums, is just a trash bin for the undesirables.
Yeah.
That's what society does. This lady doesn't speak English. She's a pain in the ass to deal with. She's got to be crazy. Throw her in there. This person's got a mental disorder. Throw them in there. This person isn't educated, can't speak well for themselves. Throw them in there. Like, anybody who seems to be a little bit out of sorts from the quote-unquote normal society just gets thrown into these asylums back in the day.
Yep. Well, like you said, this isn't our first time talking about asylums, but my opinion has not changed. It is tragic. Another kind of inhumane thing was the bath routines here. The women were stripped down completely naked and dumped into cold baths where another inmate would scrub them down harshly. After Nellie's bath, she was sent to bed still dripping wet without even a nightgown.
You better hope the person scrubbing you down likes you.
I know, my God.
Or is a decent person.
Yeah, not trying to hurt you.
Yeah, because there were some dangerous people there. People with mental disorders that made them dangerous. And I'm sure having them scrub down somebody, it's just the lack of regulations and the oversight that we know happens in these kind of places is just, my mind reels with all the ways that people could be abused, not just by the staff, but by
other
people in there. Yeah.
The same nurse who refused to translate came into Nellie's room and she asked for a nightgown. And after some back and forth, the nurse said, quote, "Well, you don't need to expect any kindness here, for you won't get it." End quote.
AKA tough shit.
Yeah, fuck you, I guess. Well, I'll tell you what, you are dialed in today because speaking of, oversights and lack of regulation, the patients were in charge of all the cleaning there. Nellie writes of how one of the nurses took her personal pencil and notebook, and when she asked for it back, the nurse literally told her to shut up.
Starting to wonder what the staff does here.
Tells
Hey, can I
people to-
have this? No. Shut up. Why don't you wash this other inmate?
That's what I was gonna say.
Go clean the bedding.
Like, what are the staff doing here? I don't know, telling people to shut up.
holding people down and giving people medication.
Yeah.
And putting the world's worst food onto lunch trays.
And slapping it in front of you. They just told her to keep quiet. This was apparently pretty frequently told to Nellie whenever she brought up asking for basic things.
Shut up and deal with it.
Eventually, Nellie was able to get her notebook back, but when she asked where her pencil was, the nurse told her that she had only brought the book, and a doctor told Nellie to fight against the imaginations in her brain. Which, fuck you. The imagination in my brain is that I had a pencil? What are you talking about? That is so goofy to me.
It's like inmates when they leave prison are like, yo, I had a 50 in here in their wallet when they get their possessions back. Or I had a ring. You didn't have no ring on the way in here.
No. Breezy commented on our episode last week, the Mad Gasser, and they said, talk about gaslighting, which is clever and funny to begin with, but that's gaslighting. Fight the imaginations in your brain?
Yeah, you never had a notebook. Nellie, shut up again.
Shut up about it. When the patients were allowed to go on walks, they would pass the staff kitchen and see fresh fruit, fresh bread, seasoned meats. Oh, just yummy looking fucking foods. Meanwhile, the patients were fed under-seasoned, barely cooked or overcooked spoiled food. If they didn't eat, they were threatened with violence or, the classic, told to shut up and be grateful as this food was too good for charity cases like themselves. At this point, it's just fully neglectful. Like, just not giving a shit about it.
Look, my PSA for everybody, find a job you love. Because if you don't, you end up being like this. You just despise going to work. These people should not be taking care of people. Mm-hmm. They're obviously shit at it.
So right. The building itself was as cold and unwelcoming as the staff. And I do literally mean cold. The staff refused to provide extra blankets or clothes, leading many women to go into quote-unquote cold fits, which...
They're freezing?
Yeah.
Were they shivering like crazy, complaining about being freezing? I'd do that too. Cold fits, yeah. They're probably sitting in the corner shivering, going, I'm so fucking cold.
Nurse, get the tranquilizer. We got another cold fit over here.
Yeah. Do they describe these cold fits?
They do not. It is just described as cold fits.
Yeah, so we'll go off the assumption of, it's just people
Yeah.
probably being pretty upset that they were freezing.
Yeah. Another story is that nurses were teasing this woman so badly she started to cry. The nurses, I guess, grew bored of her crying, and what do you think they did?
Told her to shut up.
Spot the fuck on. Yes, they did. Now, this woman may have actually had some sort of mental disability in one way or another, because it seems that she was completely unable to calm down at all or stop crying. To stop her, the nurses slapped her, knocked around her head, and then choked her. One of the nurses was actually seen spitting into her ear.
Okay, all that is ridiculous, but did I just hear you say it's thought that she had a mental condition because she couldn't stop crying? We have to remember, we're looking at this through the lens of Nellie at this time.
it very much could have been that these nurses were just fucking cruel and she just couldn't regulate in that moment. She could have been 100% mentally healthy and just unable to kind of quell.
Well, if you treat a mentally healthy person like shit for long enough, everybody cracks.
Yeah, so I mean, it could have been that scenario, but I'm just going off of what Nellie says here. Either way though, the abuse that this woman suffered purely because they made her cry and then she couldn't stop crying. A French woman spoke to Nellie and told her that she had been put in the asylum for not being able to speak English. And because of that, she had been choked out so many times that her throat was just permanently sore now.
My neck's been wrung so many times, it just hurts all the time now.
Yep. And again, being put in this asylum just for not being able to speak English. Fuck you.
Land of opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you don't speak English.
Enjoy! Another tale of how a woman was imprisoned here was a young German girl who was put into this asylum for getting mad when she scrubbed a kitchen floor and a chambermaid came in and deliberately dirtied it. Just any old reason.
Yeah, it really didn't take much.
The last tale of abuse that I will talk about here is a woman named Mrs. Cotter. She and some other patients were out on a walk when Mrs. Cotter thought she saw her husband, so she jumped out of line to go and greet him or, what have you. As punishment for getting out of line, though, she was beaten with a broom, jumped on, had her hands and feet tied up, and she was put in a bathtub being held under the water. They also, for good measure, I guess, ripped her hair out from the roots, hoping that the hair would not grow back.
Why?
For getting out of line. Shouldn't have done that.
Seems a bit excessive to me.
Quite excessive, yeah.
It's funny. I've heard the story about Nellie before.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember all these stories.
Mm-hmm.
I know that this place was a complete shit show.
Yeah, not great. And Nellie was only in there for 10 days. She was finally able to be discharged after a lawyer came to get her out.
Yeah, see, I seem to remember her not being able, correct me if I'm wrong here. I remember her checking herself in and then being told she wasn't well enough to check herself out, so somebody had to come and claim her.
That is exactly correct. That's why they had to get a lawyer to even get her discharged from this place. And all these things she learned just in 10 days there. Imagine the people who were locked up in there for years or, goodness.
Yeah, it's a good thing that she had people that knew she was going in there, because if she just did this as like a
undercover,
a little experiment thing, didn't let anybody know she's gonna take off for a few days and then come back, she could have been locked in there forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Damn good thing she was this was work for her. Like, I couldn't even imagine. In the aftermath, after she was discharged, she released her expose. This completely shocked the public there, and there was actually some changes that came about from this. The budget for the Department of Public Charities and Corrections was increased from $1.5 million to $2.3 million. $50,000 of this was specifically set aside for Blackwells.
So budget increases.
Mm-hmm.
That's a start. We should probably address staff too.
Yeah, but it didn't matter too much because just 7 years later, the asylum was shut down. Nellie was hired on as a permanent member of the newspaper, and because of her hands-on, in the thick of it reporting, this kind of reporting actually became known as investigative journalism. She kind of helped coin that term.
One of the OGs.
Yeah.
Getting behind the scenes.
Yeah. She continued to report on the darker parts of New York, like corruption in the government, infant black markets, and even more. Which I think we'll do an episode on some of the infant black markets. That is crazy too. In 1889, Nellie's popularity soared to even higher heights when she went around the world in 72 days and made daily updates that were published in the New York World. At 30 years old, she married a millionaire named Robert Seaman, and she was able to retire. When he died in 1903, she took over his companies. While in this business, she patented a few oil manufacturing inventions, of which many are still used today.
Well, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. In her later life, she would return to journalism and continually advocated for women all over the country. On January 27th of 1922, Nellie Bly passed away from pneumonia. She was 57 years old.
Respiratory issues really did take pretty much everyone back in the day. Between tuberculosis, pneumonia.
Oh, yeah. Even the Black Plague. I mean, as soon as you got the pneumatic, they were like 100% guaranteed to die.
Yeah, lung stuff. Bad.
Yeah, thoughts, views, and opinions on Miss Nellie?
I liked it. I liked the refresher on her because I did know that she went into the asylum. She did the investigative journalism. I knew the broad strokes of it. I did remember a couple things, but a majority of that felt pretty new to me, honestly. But I mainly just remember the conditions being very bad and then her being treated like she was crazy when she wasn't.
Yeah.
And the fact that she had to have somebody come get her out.
Yep. Well, she was a pretty badass woman, so I wanted to end it with some positive notes on her. She was pretty cool.
Yeah, no, she was pretty cool. Also, it made me wonder when you said that she kind of helped coin the phrase investigative journalist or investigative journalism. My brain just went to investigative journalists really are just detectives. Like, they're pretty detective adjacent.
Yeah, I would say so for sure.
You know, they without the authority that comes with being a detective, they're doing all the same work. They report back their findings so that way, you know, the detective can arrest them or let the proper people know, whether that be authorities, the state, judges,
The
whoever.
public, yeah.
Let them know what is going on in the day-to-day.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I think she is endlessly fascinating. With that, you guys can follow us on our Instagram or send us an email, both of which are linked in the show notes below.
We also have our website linked below. Peruse around. We do have a couple blogs up, and
you can also help support us here by checking out our shop too, which is live now.
Yeah, pick yourself up a t-shirt or a hoodie. All proceeds help cover the cost of the show, and also leaving a rating or sharing the show with somebody. It's a simple thing. It takes 1 or 2 clicks from you guys, and it helps the show tremendously, and we would appreciate it. So if you haven't done that yet, hit those buttons for us.
Beautifully said. Thanks for hanging out with us this week, guys, and we will see you next week for another episode of the Darkives.
See you next week.
Goodbye.
Do you think if I was put into an asylum, they'd let me out?
Absolutely not. Not even close. But if it makes you feel any better, I wouldn't be let out either. I believe in ghosts.
Ghost is silly. Ghost is like paranormal and divinity. I don't understand either one of them.